Meantime, state workers now have less than a week to get their final dose or potentially lose their jobs. Data shows around 68% of state workers have been verified as fully vaccinated, which is a 20% increase from earlier this month. So far, 800 state workers have been given medical or religious exemptions, though not all religious exemptions will result in accommodations.
And we're going to bring in Fox 13 political reporter Brandi Kruse now, and you've spoken to some workers in our state who still are on the fence, and time's running out.
Yeah, time's running out. So if you go at this point with the J&J vaccine, next Monday is the day you'd have to get that dose, or you're just not going to be considered fully vaccinated by October 18th. And look, as we talk about this, I think what's important to just acknowledge off the top is for tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of state workers, government workers, this vaccine mandate wasn't a big deal. They'd already decided to get the shot. It didn't really have an impact on them. But for others, things weren't that simple, and they have struggled in a very real way with the possibility of losing their livelihoods.
Dawn Fogarty became a volunteer firefighter to continue a family legacy, although not in the way you might expect.
One of my sons is a firefighter paramedic, and I called him up and I said, "What do you think? Somebody my age, you think I could do this?" And he goes, "Absolutely."
Already employed full-time for a big tech company in Seattle, the 58-year-old wanted to serve his East Side community.
My fellow Academy classmates called me Gramps, because at that time I just found out that our daughter was having our first grandchild.
But despite all the training he went through just to be a volunteer, he won't be able to follow in his son's footsteps much longer, because Dawn is not vaccinated.
I'm open to vaccines. I just want to understand the effects and before I make that final decision. We all have a right to make that informed decision. And that's where I stand.
For Don, it's a choice he has to make. Either get a shot he doesn't want or give up a job he loves.
I am spending all hours I can looking for other employment.
Dustin Steffen is a 14-year veteran of the Washington State Patrol. He's also a father and a husband. And yes, he's unvaccinated.
The forced mandate goes against everything that we as a country and as a state should believe in and fight for.
Like others we spoke with, he's sharing his story to put a face to those who are not vaccinated, pushing back against the narrative that his decision is political or that he's anti-vaccine.
This has really nothing to do with political ideologies. This is more of a religious and personal stance that we fully and strongly believe in.
But not all state workers once opposed to the vaccine have remained steadfast. Back in August, I spoke with Miranda, an employee of the State Department of Labor and Industries, who wanted her identity protected for fear of retribution. Here's what she told us at the time.
I don't feel safe doing it.
Fast forward to September, and Miranda is now vaccinated.
I made a hard choice, and for a few days there, I was really regretting my choice. I'm still getting over it.
She says advice from a trusted family member helped in her decision.
She works in healthcare, and she just made me feel a lot safer about the choice that I made. It was just the face-to-face human contact with someone sincerely telling me this vaccine helps.
As for holdouts like Dawn Fogarty, he says there is still something that could force his hand, and that is if his full-time job in the private sector makes the vaccine a condition of employment.
And that may make the determination for me, because of course I have to pay my bills as well as anybody else. And so I'm just waiting to see where that all lands before I make that final decision.
Yeah, and it's important to put a face to these people. You know, the conversation over this has become so divisive, and I don't know that divisive nature and how political it's become really helps people make a decision that is going to be best for them. And a couple other notes, you know, Miranda, the L&I employee that I spoke with who didn't want to get the vaccine at all and then came around to it, said one of the other things that changed her mind is the fact that you have so many other employers in the private sector who are starting to require COVID vaccines. So it kind of left her feeling like she'd have nowhere to go if she lost her state job, that she could leave her state job, but where else would I be able to get hired? And as I mentioned, for state workers and also workers for any counties or city agencies that are under a mandate, Monday would be the day where they really have to make a decision about, do I get the J&J vaccine and be fully vaccinated by October 18th, or do I lose my job? So tough decision to make, but a lot of people are really struggling with it in a very real way.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do anyone any good to dismiss those stories as sort of, oh, right-wing, crazy lunatics who don't want a vaccine. It's important to hear what they have to say.
Yeah, it's tough when they go after your pocketbook, too. You haven't
Yeah.
really, kind of got a family to support, right? It's hard
Exactly.
decisions, and they seem forced on them is how they feel.
Yeah.
All right, Brandi, thank you.
Yep.